Morning guys, I got another one for you. Just wanted to show you what I had going on today, and what it is actually a rack and pinion on a Yukon. I want to say it's a 2013, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And the rack and pinion's leaking, making a nice sized puddle on the ground when it's parked. Customer complains that the steering wheel gets stiff when they're driving, and it's because of the lack of power steering fluid that's actually in the system or in the reservoir. Once you get air in the system, the hydraulics or the system kind of locks up or tightens up. It's a hydraulic system, so any hydraulic system, when it gets air in it, it's gonna give you trouble. So yeah, this is the Yukon that I'm doing today. It's almost like a suburban type. And let me show you the rack and pinion. It's actually right here. We got the tie rods, the boot. Actually, let me get to the other side because that's where it's leaking. I'm not sure if you guys can see that, but it's leaking power steering fluid from inside this boot. There's a seal that goes to the rack and pinion, and that seal is leaking, and it is repairable, but it's really a big hassle. It's always best just to replace the whole rack and pinion itself. This customer tried to fix it with silicone or whatnot, and it never works. Every time there's a leak, oil leak, power steering, coolant, it's always best to just replace the actual part or gasket that's leaking. In this case, it's the seal for the rack and pinion, but again, it's just best to replace the whole thing. So I'm going to go through and take this apart, kind of step by step. I'm not going to do the whole thing, because really this isn't like a tutorial of for do-it-yourselfers. It's just more advertising for my business and showing the people what I'm capable of doing as far as a mobile mechanic. I know it's kind of mobile mechanics aren't very popular or even well known, but we are out here, and I just want to show you guys what I'm capable of doing as far as service on vehicles. And in this case, it's going to be a rack and pinion. So yeah, I'm gonna get started. Oh, here's the new rack and pinion. This is what it looks like. So that there is gonna be going on this one. I'm gonna take off the old one, and I'll walk you through it. So hold tight. The first thing that I do when I do a rack and pinion is I strap down the steering wheel. Reason why I do that is because the steering column is gonna have to be disconnected. Where's it at? You can't really see it right here. Well, the steering column is going to have to be disconnected from the rack and pinion, and when that happens, the steering wheel has to be straight and remain straight, because if it does spin after I disconnect it, there's what's called a clock spring in here, and it could be damaged if this spins freely and goes out of place. If it spins too much, it'll damage the clock spring, which controls a lot of your operations right here: cruise control, volume, music channels, and whatnot. Whatever's on your steering wheel as far as controls, that clock spring communicates to the computer what command to do based off the button you press. So if that's damaged, it's not going to communicate, and it won't do what you want it to do. So I strap these down so the steering wheel doesn't spin or turn, with a couple straps. That's the first step. All right, so now you're going to want to take off this outer tie rod, which is connected to the steering knuckle, and there's a nut under here. It's going to have to come off. This one requires a 21. We're going to go ahead and do that real quick. Okay. Every time I work, I always use a moving blanket or some type of mat to pick up all the debris. You see all this debris that just fell off? I don't like to leave my areas real dirty, so I always use some type of mat, or in this case a moving blanket, to pick up any of that. Even though we're on the street, and this is pavement, I still don't like it to leave a mess behind. You gotta be as professional as you can. So right here, normally you would use a special tool. I've never have in the over 10 years I've been doing automotive repair, but this steel or this knuckle is made of really hard steel, so you won't really damage it if you just tap it, but this is how I get it off. Just like that. Boom. Okay, and I'm gonna do the same thing to the other side. Here's that steering rod that I was talking about that connects to the rack and pinion. You got the rod right there, and the pinion is actually right there. That's the tip of the head, and that rod just goes right in place of there. What I like to do at this point is do a little marking just as a reference. So when I put on the new one, I could put it on the same way I took it off as far as the old one. So there's a little white marking that I put, and yeah, so we got 2 bolts that hold the rack and pinion, one on this side. Actually, there's 2 on this side, one up here, run through the frame. You can't really see it. And then the rack and pinion is right there, and that's gonna come right out. But again, I gotta take that bolt out of the shaft, and then release it. Disconnect these power steering lines from the rack, and then it should come out. So guys, I just got the rack and pinion out. I swapped out all the parts for it. Here it is right here. I don't know if you can see, that's the old one right here. I had to take out the outer tie rods. When you take them out, you got to count the number of times they spin to come out, because that's the number of times they're going to spin to go back in, just so the alignment's somewhat even. It's not going to be perfect, the alignment, but it'll be somewhat even if you count the number of times they come out and count the number of times, the same number of times they go back in. So yeah, it's about to go back in. I got the little catch pan over there because there was some oil that dripped out from the power steering pump or the steering lines. So yeah, almost done. So guys, I just finished the rack and pinion. Everything went pretty good. Let's see. There's no more leaks. I'm not sure if you could see. That's the new one. I'm gonna wash it down still. There's a little bit of oil residue left over. This is the boot that was normally leaking. It's brand new now, so we fixed that problem. Yeah, it's running. Just gotta wash it down a little bit, and it should be good to go. So yeah, I just wanted to show you guys again a little bit of what I do. Mike's Mobile Automotive Repair. I'm located in San Jacinto. I cover all of Riverside County. Everything from rack and pinions to water pumps to brakes, suspension work, anything that you guys need. I'm a mobile mechanic. Feel free to give me a call. It's my number right there, 714-955-8725. Thank you.